back with another 2 suggestions by some guy that suggested 3 videos before. This one is called The New Orleans House of Horror. This is a Snarled video again. Again, something scary. Lalaurie. Okay, I'm just gonna say that. Haunted house story time. It's under 5 minutes long, which again, like these videos I do not mind at all. It's just the ones that are like 20 plus minutes or even like 10. 15 I'm kind of like eh. Like 5 is like ideal. That's perfect for me, just saying. Let's go, dudes.
What I'm about to tell you is possibly one of the most graphic and horrendous scenes in American history.
That's great.
You have been warned. Hey, I'm Sapphire. Want to hear something scary?
I see scary stuff all the time, so why not?
In this next chapter, I'll be taking you down south to the French Quarter of New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's explore one of the most haunted locations in the entire city, the Lalaurie house. In 1832, Dr. Louis Lalaurie and his wife Delphine moved into their beautiful mansion at 1140 Royal Street. The house was made for extravagant parties and elite social gatherings. Madame
cool.
Lalaurie was considered one of the most intelligent and beautiful women in the entire city. Every woman wanted to be her. But as beautiful as she was on the outside, people were beginning to suspect that something ugly was going on behind closed doors. Like most wealthy families during that time, the Lalauries owned slaves. They prepared the meals and made the fancy parties possible. But rumors began to stir. Madame's slaves seem to come and go quite often, don't you think? What do you mean? Look around. Do any of these workers look familiar to you? It seems like she changes them so often. Huh.
Sus.
I wonder why that is. Suspicions had been rising, but with no proof to back any of them up. Until one day, when a neighbor was climbing her stairs, she heard a scream coming from the Lalaurie house and looked over to see Madame chasing a little girl with a whip. There was nothing she could do but watch in horror as the little girl climbed to the rooftop with Madame following close behind. With nowhere to go, the little girl jumped. Even though slaves were barely considered human back in those times, there were still laws that prohibited exceptionally cruel treatment. So the neighbor called the authorities, who had the Lalaurie slaves impounded and sold at an auction. But Madame was sneaky. She arranged for her relatives to buy her workers and sell them back to her. After that incident, Madame's reputation began to change. People were no longer eager to attend the parties at their house, nor even interact with the family. Eventually, they were alienated by the Creole Society. And in 1834, things would only get worse. The Madame kept her cook chained to the kitchen by her ankle. For whatever reason, Madame had threatened to take her to the upstairs room. This terrified the cook. Whenever anyone went up to that room, they never came back. The cook decided she would rather die by her own hand than to suffer by Madame Lalaurie's, so she set the kitchen on fire. It spread throughout the entire house, and not a part of the mansion was left unscathed. Neighbors came rushing over to help fight the flames, but after the smoke had cleared, they made a horrific discovery in the attic. What I'm about to tell you is possibly one of the most graphic and horrendous scenes in American history. You have been warned. The fire had burned down the door to reveal the upstairs room filled with dozens of naked slaves. Some were strapped to what looked like an operating table. A few were chained to the wall. Others were crouched in small cages. One woman had her stomach slit open and her intestines wrapped around her waist like a cruel corset. Another woman's mouth was sewn shut, after first having been filled with animal feces. A man had a hole drilled into his head with a stick inserted, presumably used to stir his brains. Most of them had been dead for a long time, and some were unfortunately not. Madame and her husband were both doctors, and some theorized that they were practicing risky medical operations on their slaves. But the inhumane condition that they were in suggests that their reasons were less medical and purely sadistic. After the news of the Lalaurie's torture room spread across the city, a mob ransacked their mansion and destroyed every last bit of property they owned. They even tore up the backyard, where they discovered dozens of buried skeletons, including that of a small child, presumably the young slave who jumped off the roof. The mob chased the Lalauries out of town, and that was the last anyone had ever seen of them. Ever since that day, that house has had trouble getting tenants to stay.
Oh, yeah.
Residents claimed to hear constant sounds of wailing. Children said they were chased by a woman with a whip. Year after year, the house would be bought just to be resold again. Today, the mansion is owned by an oil tycoon who doesn't allow anyone inside. I wonder what he's hiding. Like this video if it gave you the chills, and don't forget to subscribe to Snarled and check out our other videos. And if you dare to follow me, my links are in the description below. Until next time, sweet dreams.
Well, damn. So this is I didn't know it was maybe about slaves or anything, but yeah, like who the hell would do that? Like, I can't imagine. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it's so hard for me to believe that like back then there were like a bunch of slaves and like actual slaves. Like, oh my gosh. And to think that like people like were like tortured, and like if they wouldn't follow rules they'd be like killed or tortured. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I can't even imagine that actually happened at some point. Like, I wasn't here obviously, but like just to think that it's somehow like here, it happened here. Like maybe not right here, but like it happened in the world before I got here, and it's just sad to think. And I can't believe all the cruel shit that they did to them. Like, what the fuck? Like, sewing their mouth shut with animal feces in it. Like, what are you doing? Cutting your stomach open to put intestine. What are you doing? Like, literally, what are you doing? None of us Lalaurie person or Lalaurie. She was obviously a bitch. I'm glad they left, and I'm glad that they finally got like kicked out or whatever, because that's just ridiculous. I don't know, just like what slaves in general, just like it's just so stupid that actually existed or that was allowed. It's just so fucked up how like just to think how stuff was before. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me to imagine how stuff was before. So it's just amazing. Not amazing in a good way, but like amazing that it actually, you know, like amazing in a bad way, obviously. But I just can't believe that actually happened. Okay. That's going to be the end of this video though. Please be sure to subscribe if you want to. Be sure to like this video if you did enjoy it. And be sure to comment down below any other suggestions you may have by Snarled or whatever channel. And yeah, turn on post notifications as well if you do not have them on yet. I'm on my way to 2K. I'm still 130 subscribers away. I keep fluctuating and it's so annoying. But again, at least I'm not losing. Well, I mean, I actually do lose like one, and I gain one back, and then I gain another one, and I lose one again. So it's just like a back and forth type thing. But yeah, be sure to subscribe if you want to. That's my goal. That's my point. Okay guys, see you in the next video. Peace out.